Hi, welcome to this video presentation. My name is Rickard Trillo-Figueroa, and this is a presentation of a composition named Innate Universality, Man's Work Upon Man, the Nature of Law. I will call it Innate Universality for short, which was made 2021. In this presentation, many subjects will be touched upon. The main will be the process of composing the work. So let's begin. Innate Universality is what I have chosen to call a technical masterpiece, because it's the most advanced technical piece for guitar ever written as of yet. I will now dwell into why this is. The piece rests on and around 7 main inventions new to the world of music. They are the following: 1. Prolonged arpeggios. 2. Prolonged and extended arpeggios consisting of natural harmonics. 3. 30 or more different tuning of guitar, making it possible for new chord and combination of chords and progressions never heard before. 4. Microsounds. 5. The extended technique of rhythmical vibrations. 6. 4 to 5 unique extended techniques on multi-string guitar, which is accounted as one multi-string guitar technique. And 7. Extended technique of playing inside of an upright piano. All of these 7 inventions are sensible in that they irrespectively opens up a field of musical possibility and variability. All of these listed inventions are made possible after inventing them by the tool of Pro Tools, in what I call the Pro Tools approach to composition. Later in the presentation it will be shown the inventions and this approach. If you think about it, you can understand that the platform of Pro Tools is a way of exploring new music, solving and inventing things and gaining experience of musical structure that hitherto was impossible. Before that, I would like to say something about chance in music within the Pro Tools approach to composition. For example, Milton Feldman has written about the possible role of chance in music. In the process of making this piece, I've gone beyond his theoretical practice and approached chance in a more substantial way as part of music making. First, chance in the finding of musical material. That is, when you play an instrument, first there is the year of developing an ability to anticipate and intuitively know how to explore when playing the instrument. But then, beyond this, you can systematically leave room for improvisation, in general, technical playing, but also for certain specific extended techniques. This is so because of the recording of the playing of the instrument. You can just play things you don't need to be able to reproduce, and also harness so-called mistakes. Taking a step further, these mistakes borders on what I call microsounds. This is all made possible because of the possibility Pro Tools gives you of composing through juxtapositioning of all recorded sounds, however small. The other point of chance is found in the orientation of your musical knowledge and developed ability. This orientation is the whole process of searching for possibilities in a chanceful trial and error way when working with a material in Pro Tools. The compositional process is done in the borderland between chance and the experience guiding your decisions. This is closely related to another aspect of the Pro Tools approach. Pro Tools makes it possible to record chords from a single instrument using vastly different tunings of that instrument. So a chord progression is open to a field of possibilities that goes beyond what is possible to physically play on the instrument. Much of what is meant by instrumental virtuosity is made obsolete in Pro Tools. So the decisions you as a composer stand before are much broader. Because of what is doable is much vaster, the collection and finding of material on the instrument is open to quantity. In this work from 2021, I made 350 recordings, each of about 5-6 minutes duration. This became in the finished work about 16 minutes of music. Before I go on, I would like to make a departure in the aspect of chance in music, a departure into a broader pragmatic or philosophical context. The key words here are chance, work, play, reproducibility, and revelation. If you start with the last one of these, revelation. All human partakes of predicting the future or anticipating it. Just moving your body in the world or a room, it's likely that you might see objects from a new sequence or visual perspective. Your consciousness is having an experience of color and shapes and so on. That is part of the domain of freedom the ability to move and see gives rise to. The object's properties can be explained by science, regularity of the laws of nature, but the causality or effect your consciousness is experiencing from moving around is not regularity, but like a revelation in your life. This is an example of the accidental in objective reality. In music, you have intention and work that are built into a specific use of sound waves or vibrations that have a causality inside your mind. That is, if you apply Aristotle's metaphysics of levels of reality, music is happening on a higher level of revelation. The accidental and or chance aspects of moving in a room is doing something on a lower level of order than a composer's revelation in a work of intentional music, with the objective relations of beauty made by the active intellect. Technology is based on the regularity we find in nature and are therefore by definition reproducible. If we could imagine a music that is emanating from, say, an instrument we built that are using non-deterministic chance, like say the quantum field, and that would emanate objective relations of beauty and sound and are unreproducible, we would have gone from technology to the miraculous in music. In science, when describing the limits of the material world in the quantum field, science speaks not of material properties, but of mathematical values. If one speculates that mathematical phenomenon in pure form exist in the absence of materia, if you read Terence Deacon's book Incomplete Nature, which I won't go into here, you can speculatively propose it's the absence that gives rise to dynamical constraints that makes mathematical phenomena occur in the mind, constitute the workings of human consciousness. This mathematical phenomena, I further speculate, are of vastly different property or causality than material regularity. This freedom is in the music of humans, and is a form of revelation about objective beauty. Its most sublime ability is playfulness, which is most akin to the nature of this mathematical phenomena. Coleridge makes the distinction of fantasy found in controlled delirium and imagination found in controlled mania, where fantasy is somewhat akin to recombinations of given materials, and imagination the invention of materials. The mental object, like music, is open to the play of imagination. The other side of objective beauty is the sound wave and its material forces or properties. Here is a clip about the field of research called cymatics.
Sound effects matter in surprising ways, a mystery that has recently deepened.
Cymatics is the science of visible sound. So all we have is a metal plate, and we sprinkle on some sand. What you see here is completely formless. In other words, there's no pattern at all. Then we take a violin bow, and we're going to play the plate with the violin bow. You see a beautiful star appears on the plate. Now, that pattern that forms is basically the sound made visible, and it's kind of magic. And now what happens when we make this plate vibrate from an electronic piano? Isn't that neat?
John Stuart Reid of Keswick, England, is the co-inventor of a new instrument called the cymoscope. It converts sound into three-dimensional geometric images in water.
What's happening is the sound is actually compressing water molecules under the surface and actually creating a kind of lensing effect to allow light to bounce off those subsurface structures. So here you see that there's a pattern forming in the center. If I put my finger in, you can see what happens, that it actually disturbs the pattern completely. The pattern's now gone, it's gone into chaos. If I take my finger out again and leave it for a second or two to restabilize, you can see that the pattern starts to come back again. So that's really interesting, isn't it? Here we have the beautiful song of a humpback whale. Some of this geometry that we're seeing is just exquisitely beautiful. When we look at some of the other CymaScope images, we are seeing so many forms that resemble early life forms in the ocean.
The CymaScope may someday help us determine whether this is just a fascinating coincidence or new evolutionary biology.
But gradually, proper spherical shapes are formed, created by nothing more than the vibratory process. The human voice can also be made visible with a simple apparatus. The various vowels show typical characteristics depending on the nature of their sound. We can see the spectrum, as it were, of the sounds. A sequence of sung notes comes out as a sequence of vibratory patterns. We can see a melody.
As you have seen, one could conclude that vibration and sound waves are forces or work, when applied constantly, can give rise to symmetry in motion, freedom of possible changes of states adhering to an order or nature of material reality. Sound waves energy gives rise to order reminiscent or prerequisite to what Terence Deacon has conceptualized as an attractor, that play a crucial part in emergent properties in nature. So one and the same sound waves gives rise to order and beauty in nature in multiple diverse materials. One can speculate that when it becomes a mental object, it gives rise to possibilities of a higher level of freedom and beauty inside the mind. That in turn, in second hand, shows up in neurological terms and mechanical causality in the form of, for example, neurological substances in the brain. To connect the dots of this philosophical exertion, the guitar is a kind of technology, and anything accidentally played on a given guitar can be in practice reproduced, even if it's beyond the ability of one specific skilled player. To take a crude, hypothetical imaginary invention, if you have the non-deterministic process of a quantum computer, and it, in turn, by non-reproducible chance, simulates acoustic instruments, like so many morphological variations on a Stradivarius violin, for example, and their sounds in a flow, in turn guided by the parameters set by a composer's revolutionary musical judgment. That could possibly be miraculous music, where the morphology of the outside material world, a process of chance, is guided by the inner world of humans and their appreciation and pursuit of beauty. Now, back to the here and now, where Pro Tools is just a rudimentary approximation of much of this interplay between chance input from outside and one's growing ability to make aesthetic judgments. To give more speculation or hints about the objective order, surrounding music. You can look, for example, in rhyming in spoken language. If you start analyzing at the elementary level, you see that you get rhyming words just by keeping, for example, sample vocals and change consonants around them. Next, you would ask, but what is it, this rhyme? Then one could speculate it's that the mouth and sound of the two rhyming words are very close. That is, one sound wave is followed by a very similar one. Taking this to the area of music, one could postulate that all of the tempered notes rhyme to some degree with each other. One sound wave has similar properties and share many of these with another sound wave, making them harmonious. It's another hint of the objective order that you can base a conception of objective beauty on. Before I turn to show the work process of making the composition, I will say something short about the aesthetic of the piece. This aesthetic I call disruption. One key way to approach this aesthetic is through abstract listening, where you in the time flow of the music are aware of just the changes of quality. That is, events made of like small sculptured blocks. The density of change is a measure or aim of this aesthetics. The quality in a block could be a varied rhythm, a certain technique like natural harmonics or fast extended arpeggios, followed by a block of contrasts, say rapid strummed chords or dynamical and pitch differences, to give some examples. And a micro sculpture can have many of these different qualities combined. If you listen to any classical piece this way, you direct your awareness to the amount and frequency of quality change and can have this perception as one kind of measure of complexity. This is one of the key aspects in aesthetic judgment of disruption. Now we'll follow the process of making innate universality. First I will show the gathering of material, playing the instrument. This section will go without comments. It's about 20 minutes long. After that, the next step is some of the process of working in Pro Tools. Both of these two video segments are very long because it's used as a record of this way of composing a specific piece to easier communicate to others about it. You can skip after getting an idea. The Pro Tools process begins at 35 minutes and ends at about 1 hour. Here is the recording and playing of the instrument.
Mer kamera.
And now for the Pro Tool process. This shows where I have gathered all of the recordings and a myriad of different kinds of samplings in one folder. The size of the folder is around 83 gigabytes, measured in data. Here I play some examples.
Utan kamera. Utan kamera. Utan kamera. Utan kamera.
Now this is Pro Tools, where I start by placing guitar recordings for Pro Tooling, and I will show different stages of the process as it goes along, skipping ahead in the time period of different stages of completion. This is an example of how you sculpture a faster sounding arpeggio. This will be done hundreds of times throughout the Pro Tools process. In this frame you see three types of arpeggio that can be played together. Without much commentary, I will go through much of the material that in the process gets selected out of the recordings, and then I will play some of it.
Sugar to ton.
Ma, ba, big, big.
And finally, this frame shows all of the selected material after about 2 months of listening and selection. The next step is composing from this abundance of material, but that will not be shown in this presentation. That was a glimpse from the Pro Tools process. Before I play the finished work, I'm going to say something about a future way of listening to music and composing more large-scale music. If you have, say, a large number of stereos, each with 2 speakers for left and right, and place them in a circle with a group of listeners in the middle, you can compose a work of great complexity, juxtapositioning music between speakers with great spatiotemporal exactness and dramatic result. If you have a piece like the one I will now play, a bit over 1 minute, and imagine it synchronized and harmonized with a number of individual pieces like it, playing together in a circle of speakers, there would be much you could do in a new way of experiencing music. take this idea to a grand scale, you could imagine a new kind of concert hall or venue. Call it the Polyphone Arc, maybe housed in a dome-like structure. This concert hall would be equipped with 100 or more state-of-the-art mini speakers and connected to an IE supercomputer, with also other technology like directed sound and virtual reality. I imagine it being a place for learning and development. The audience do not pay directly for a concert, but goes there to see individual personal growth in music. In my thinking, it is not part of the marketplace, but a pursuit of activity for its own sake, in a different society and economy, organized around different principles and possibilities. Now I will play the work composed and created 2021. Thank you for watching and listening to this presentation.
Logos. Nomos.
Singular is Mathematica. Eterna.
I am present now. We owe our existence to supernova.
Make a fire now.
Time is the eternally recreating space of causality. From physical absence, mental math as final cause. Where does all time occur simultaneously? In active creative memory. Why does a near-death experience sometime include a person's whole life passing by? It's the individual's power of Gestalt. The life that has occurred to shape or form one's conscious presence. The lived causality of one's own personality.
Logos. Absence.
Gestalt.
Personality.
My mind's not right.
Thank you.
ultimate